I just wanted to make a quick post-run commentary video to summarize my thoughts on this challenge and to include some extra details I left out of the other videos. I have a level 50 Tempest trial map in the background from my main save data, where I implemented Anna's build from this run to see how the build stacks against fully stat-capped enemies, as shown here, and it holds up exceptionally well, provided she uses a few tonics and her weapon is surged. I did manage to 100% the game with half deployment and no emblems, and reached donation level 5 on all nations in the process. I didn't bother showing every paralog because they all more or less played the exact same, with Anna soloing them, so here are the receipts, so to speak. I didn't end up using the DLC paralogs for extra XP, save for Tiki's and Veronica's paralogs, which I did pretty early into the run. I'm a big fan of half deployment and engage, and it's become my new favorite way to play the game. Out of all of my playthroughs, the last 4 I've done have all been some variation of half deployment. I don't think I could ever go back to full deployment and still enjoy the game. Half deployment also means half emblems in a normal run, forcing unique strategies and team comps, as well as more intense enemy phases. It adds a smooth finish to Engage's balancing, boosting the overall experience of maddening. It's really neat how many mechanics and skills in this game stop seeming gimmicky when you're forced to use them more, due to actually having to think about enduring enemy phases in an otherwise heavily player phase game. In this particular run, the enemy skill warding blow was actually something I had to pay attention to for the first time, since it allowed some units to survive being one-shot by Anna, followed by breaking her for the next round of combat if she even had the HP to survive the hit. Fortunately, it was only present on a few units on only 2 or 3 maps, but in a normal run, that's not even a skill you'd pay attention to, or even realize existed for that matter. I'd recommend half deployment to anyone that enjoys maddening in this game, with or without emblems. It makes great use of all of Engage's mechanics to their full potential. If anyone does try half deployment, let me know. I would definitely love to hear how it goes. My goal with this series was to make the playthrough presented as if it was a play, with an overall picture to paint and a story to tell. I played the run as if it was a grand finale to all the runs I've ever done, and I wanted others to enjoy the playthrough as much as I enjoyed playing it. Though I beat almost every chapter on my first attempt, I don't want to undersell the difficulty of this challenge in these videos in any way. It took well-executed strategies in order to pull off a challenge of this nature. This is what my first attempt of Chapter 17 looked like, where I executed my strategy very poorly, resulting in a hopeless situation where I am susceptible to multiple engage attacks. Tiki's paralog and Chapter 16 also ended in a similar manner due to poorly executed strategy, forcing me to clear all 3 of these chapters on a second attempt. I think my personal favorite highlights of this run were Chapter 17, Chapter 24, and the finale, of course. All 3 of those maps kept the pressure high, and the amount of strategy involved to pull them off was very satisfying. I'd recommend watching Chapter 24 if you haven't already and are interested in watching the full playthrough of the chapter. I may have over-prepared for the finale, but I didn't want to underestimate the final chapter. In my original full deployment Emblemless run a year ago, I made the mistake of underestimating the final chapter, and it was a huge difficulty spike as a result. Granted, Engage had only just released at the time. I was the first that I know of to attempt the challenge. And the well also didn't exist yet, meaning I did that run with no skill inheritance, and not nearly as much knowledge of game mechanics. Anna's build was something I didn't plan or anticipate at the start of this run. I had randomly had the idea somewhere in Brodia or Solm, and even then I had assumed she would only consistently one-shot certain classes in the late game, I had no idea that the build would be so effective that she could solo entire maps consistently. It had occurred to me after the run that I could have actually used Weapon Surge to buff enemy tomes to make them do enough damage to attack her on enemy phase, instead of having them ignore her and go around her. It wasn't necessary, but it would have been a neat tactic to use on certain maps. Anna definitely added to the fun of this challenge though. The build she used could also be used with other strong magic units of course, like Citrine or Gregory, but I chose Anna specifically because she could farm gold at the same time. Anna gained 59 level ups in total throughout the run, and one-shot so many enemies that the post-game battle counter actually looped back around from 999 to 1 at some point. I am honestly not even sure if it looped around once or twice, though twice would not surprise me given how many level ups she got off of enemies only worth 1 to 2 experience. I'm not insane enough to go back and manually count to check, but either way, even 1600 battles won is a lot. This challenge was something I've been tossing around for many months now, and I finally worked up the motivation to take it on. I played this run as if it was my last run. I don't really have any more ideas for a new run as of right now, but if anyone has a new challenge idea, I'd love to hear them. I did toss around the idea of a half deployment no somnial run, though I'm not sure how viable or fun that kind of challenge would be. I've always felt that no somnial runs were overrated, restricting too many game mechanics for the sake of a challenge that adds little to no experience. Adds little to the experience of maddening beyond making it feel more scripted. That said, maybe half deployment on top of no somnial would make it more interesting and would be a neat way to one-up the popular challenge. In the meantime, I have some more Engage videos planned soon, so if I think of a new challenge by the time those have all come out, I'll take it on afterwards. Thank you for watching this series, and I hope you enjoyed watching the run as much as I enjoyed playing it.
You're dead. I can't retreat now. I will put you to rest. We did it, Divine One. Sleep now. Engage blast! Guided by the evidence. A good wind. Window jumpers! Thanks for the business!
Emblemless.